Right, it's chapter 8. I only see strangers. The elephant woman and her geezer are vacating. A kid is clearing the glasses and he attempts to swipe at mine, but I pull it away from him. I can hear this fake cackling from people standing in the lounge. It digs into me, the duplicity of it all. One thing I used to love about Dolly was her inability to perform that way. If it wasn't genuinely side-splitting, then she was stony-faced. My jokes had to be immense and mint straight off the press. Someone has stuck a song on the jukebox. It's a theme from Mahogany. It's a track I love from way back. Do you know where you're going to? Do you like the things that life is showing you? I don't. Where I am going to? Do you know? Do you get what you're hoping for? I did once. I can't access when or how I clicked she was the one. It wasn't when I first set eyes on her. When she walked across the reception area on her mission. She was tall, well built, strong but curvy. She had tight jeans on, high heels, fake fur coat and swinging handbag. I didn't even give her a second look. She weren't my type. But several months later she had somehow leaked in there and I was getting transfixed. There was no way she was going to want me though. That went without saying, so I didn't say anything until I did. It was right after when she whispered in my ear at the social club. We were back on the ward by then. I got to say something to you, Dolly. I got you in my head a bit. I was already backing off, getting in place with the standard reply and the usual come down. Instead I got this. I feel the same way, it's mutual. That floored me. It proper took the wind out of me. I was sideways on by then, out of the departure lounge. My eyes went saucer wide and my mouth dropped open while my head was turning back round to check her face for signs of obvious, complete lack of capacity. She must be seriously crazy. Her face was kosher though. She was nodding slowly, and she'd taken her specs off for a second so her eyes could talk. She never took her specs off, and for a split second I could see into the deepest corners of her mind. There was not even one shade of grey. She meant what she said. She put her specs back on. Forced laughter vented from my nostrils. I clamped my eyes shut and shook my head. Are you for real? No. Really? Really, yeah. We both looked at the floor then. My mouth was making all kinds of stupid shapes. Okay, I will. Yeah, we made it timely and headed off in opposite directions to digest the impossible. I was waking up to considering that for once in my life, a woman just might not be repulsed the minute she got near me, and there was an outside chance, huge odds, but almost alive and breathing, I might not have to do this shit alone anymore. When I got outside for the next fag break, she was already seated on the benches in the smoking area, shaking violently. I didn't know what to say. I was scared shitless too. A few days later, she gave me a little folded up piece of paper. When I opened it, it was there in black and white. I think I'm in love with you. I've been waiting a lifetime for that. Chapter 9. There had been other ones. They were supposed to be love, but there was nothing on the flip side. I was in it on my own. The first one was when I started this new job behind the bar in this boozer in Kennington Oval. That's in South London. I just walked through the door and this bird was ringing up the price of a pint in the till. There was something Dolly-ish about her, but I didn't know that because Dolly was lurking about 25 years away in the future direction from where I stood. Millie was all smiles and laughs, typical Celtic, deep blue eyes, ginger hair, pale skin, freckles and plenty of love handles. She was from Anglesey, minus the Welsh accent. She had this babyish voice, sweet rounded vowels, and it was a tool, to draw men in. She was looking for a place, so she moved into the squat where I was living. It was an old, cold, damp and derelict 5-storey Victorian manor, but on a well-posh street in the borough, full of houses owned by MPs and Harley Street bods. She brought home regulars from the pub, mostly old Bill, and I soon found out that 6 coppers in one day was her normal. This wasn't a great discovery on my part, as I happened to be on the Class A's. It wasn't long before Millie had also taken up residence in my head, but she was focused elsewhere. She incorporated a regular, a Liverpudlian joiner, and they had the room directly above mine, so I had to listen to the whole lot. The moans, creaks, bangs, hallelujahs. The jealousy sent me crazy and more tormented about my female body. Millie and I became close friends, but I never told her how I felt, that I'd fallen head over heels. After a year or so, she had had enough of my use of gear and left, just walked out. She stayed away from me for a while, and that was torture. The friendship continued for another year, but she distanced herself more and more. She never contacted me. I had to call her. Then one Christmas, out of the blue, she turns up with some presents. We chatted, and everything seemed normal, so I wasn't prepared for the letter I got in the post about a week later. It was long, seriously long, the longest letter I have ever received in my life. Yeah, and written on what must have been a 6-foot piece of paper. And I'm not stretching it. No, I measured it. It could easily be summarised, though. In 2 words, basically. Fuck off. I couldn't fuck off. That would have been impossible. So I decided my only option was honesty. I wrote back to her on a reasonable sized small piece of paper. Dear Millie, I'm in love with you. Casey. Kiss, kiss, kiss. My honesty wasn't just overdue. It went way past that. It was like showing up on the job, not an hour late, a day late, or even after you've been sacked, but when the firm's gone bust. There was the final letter then. Short and sweet this time. I kept it for years to torture myself with, safe in a shoebox with some other major stuff. It basically translated as, Dear Casey, this doesn't change anything. I feel like you've lied to me. Still fuck off. Keep on thinking happy thoughts. Millie. There weren't any happy thoughts. She just probably thought there were because I had this habit of morphing into a grinning Cheshire cat when she was about. My heart was broken for the duration. I was kind of lucky, really. There was no mobiles, internet and all that back then. Otherwise I would have been blocked, defriended on Facebook, trashed on Twitter and outed on Instagram. I couldn't tell anyone because no one knew. It was still early 1990s. It would have been fine if Millie had been Mike or Martin or Malcolm, but she wasn't. So there was nowhere left to go but the plug hole. If there was any social side to me, it died after that. A long, slow death. And work tailed off too. I'd been lodged from my job at the Merchant House pub by that time and had taken up motorbike dispatching on my Honda H100 two-stroke. I just have this image in my head of a roundabout, chucking the bike down, diving into the grass and sobbing my eyes out, with my lid still on and cars circling around me. A year later, when it finally clicked that going away was what I bona fide had to do, I usurped myself in childishness. I sent Millie a parting gift, a load of used, blood-clogged syringes logged through her letterbox. I don't know what that was. I suppose it was supposed to be revenge, for Christ's sake. It would have been one hell of a lot simpler if I'd just told her I was madly in love with her in the first place. I'm pretty sure she was bisexual anyhow. It weren't as if she was likely to freak out about it. There were other bods living with me in the squat by then. The only one I had any affinity with was Alan, an artist who used to live off rotten fruit and veg picked off the ground at Borough Market. He came in my room now and again when he wanted to scrounge from my jar of butts. He was Rolo Solo too. I couldn't connect though, not really, not with anyone. It was becoming more and more like I was hunkered down in a Faraday cage with my own feelings, on me Todd, in me room, door shut, world out. When I left that gaff, I left people for the duration, and they left me. It takes two not to tango. People don't get to be alone on their own. Those bods out there aren't all squeaky clean bystanders. They make a point of looking the other way. But they probably couldn't have caught my eye anyway, because my face was mostly hanging somewhere near the floor, needle hanging out of my arm. There was sod all to stop me using alone, grafting alone, couching alone, and waking up clucking on my own for the next goddamn whatever how many years, every single morning. Heroin was my partner, and crack was my best friend. I fully believe that heroin was God actually, because I remember cutting myself so I could write in blood on the wall. I wrote, "Heroin is God," blood dripping down on the wall. Yeah, I had been a junkie by then, for about 7 years, and I had 15 more years to go. It took me 3 years to get over Millie. Every now and then I check out social media. Never found her. Millie Morgan. She'll have been hitched several times. Odds are she's got her own restaurant. I see kids, grandkids, even great ones, all that crap. She'll be 100% certain I'm dead and buried 1,000 times over.